It's my COVID protector.
I didn't know if it was a nose warmer or if it was earmuffs and you were wearing them wrong. I just really wasn't sure, so I had to ask, man.
Leave it to Dan.
Well, when the question needs to be asked, somebody's got to ask the question. I mean, that's just...
Hang on.
There you go, Jim. See, Jim's showing you the proper way.
There you go.
What's that?
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown showing you how to wear a mask. That's what you wear when you have a large tract builder moving into your neighborhood and you go and look at his jobs, but you get political pressure. Just pull your mask over your eyes and say, "I didn't see it." That's...
I'm gonna try that one day.
Yeah, getting back to the ladder, I think 10, 11, 16 won't let them use that for anything.
Yeah. I mean,
10, 11, 16 is the answer.
I mean, I'm sorry, the 2015 amendment. It seems like it's things at the same time. You can have a mezzanine, but you can't use it for nothing in front of the occupier. But then it shows an occupied use. It's like a guard tower. So it's almost like you're talking outside of a neck.
It says permanent ladders shall not serve as a part of the means of egress from occupied spaces within a building, period.
Yeah.
So
that first sentence, opening shall not, that's a two-sentence thing. It's two separate sentences. First it says, if it's going to be occupied, can't use the ladder, full stop. And then it says something else after that. And then it gives some conditions.
Someone will get hurt trying to put storage materials up in that mezzanine or whatever they want to call it. So
yeah.
Hey Steve, I just got an urgent request from our CEO. Hope all is well on the outbreak. I have a request for you to handle on my behalf. Please review this Google Doc. Yeah, I'm gonna click on that.
Yeah, good luck with that. That's all right. I got one the other day that said it was from the accounting department, and there was a disgruntled customer. And because of the complaint, they were docking me $4,000 and some odd dollars. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I think I got that one too, Steve.
And click here and you'll see the PDF. Yeah, no, I'm thinking no. That's okay.
our IT department sends out tests like that all the time. I've failed a couple of them. I open them, but I don't anymore.
Yeah, well, we had, Steve, we had one employee from ICC got spearfished or something like that about a week ago, and I looked at the title of it and like, yeah, I'm going to open that, not.
So hello, everyone. I know everybody's joining. We have about 30 plus people in the meeting today. It's about 8 after 3. I'm going to leave it in the hands of our chair, Dan Dockery. And we'll be at your call, Mr. Chair.
Usually there's like a drum roll and trumpets or something like that, isn't there?
Not so much.
Oh, okay. Well, darn. Anyway, thanks a bunch. And we've still got people coming in, and we're happy to see them all. But we will go ahead and get started since it's about 8 after, and our guest speaker today has a prime slot, and we know that he's currently booked in Las Vegas following us. So we want to get Mike Nugent out of his presentation in a timely fashion and all. But thanks for attending our February 17th, 2021 meeting of the Building Membership Council. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here, and that's the truth. We are. We're excited about things that are going on in 2021, other than the bad weather, other than what's happening in Texas, other than COVID. Gosh, there's a whole boatload of other thans, but I'm not going to list them all. I am particular that you're here today. Thank you for being here. I want to welcome everybody to the call. Before I go any further, special guest, I want to ask, are there any board of directors members on the call? And please identify yourself. And if you've got a word of that you can share with us, please do that. We're glad to have you. And here it is. The floor is yours for a moment.
Yeah, Dan, thank you. Ron Hampton from Kentucky. We're just hanging in there during the snowstorm. Glad to be here. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Ron, how much snow you got?
Well, we had about 3 inches of snow and a 1/4 inch of ice last week. We got about a 1/2 inch of ice and a couple inches of snow this week, and we got about 5 inches coming tonight.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you talk to Ed Lisinski, and he's going to call you a snow rookie because he's up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, next to the Great Lakes, and he'll disappoint you rapidly when he gets to telling his snow stories.
Oh, I
Anybody
know.
else? Thanks for being here, though. Appreciate you, Hampton.
Yeah, Dan, Jim Brown, I'm on, and it's a balmy 23 degrees here today. Sunday morning was standing temperature was -30.
Oh, gosh.
Nice.
Just a
Good
little
weather.
chilly side, but great to be here, gents and ladies.
I
Minus 30,
appreciate you
Jim.
being here.
You keeps your beer cold.
There's
I
the
just wanna-
there's the challenge. You gotta drink it quick because at 30 below, you better get that 12 ounces down pretty stout and
Slushy.
quick because it'll freeze in about a minute.
Yeah.
I want to know if all the stock I bought in wind farms last year is going to pay off in Texas.
I wouldn't count.
No comment.
This is Greg Wheeler.
Hey, Greg, good to have you on here. How are you?
All
Good.
rise.
It's a balmy 34 degrees here with another snowstorm moving in on us. The snow we have is about half gone. So, but we've had some cold weather, but I'm glad that everybody else is sharing. So.
Good deal. Good deal. Who else?
Hey, Dan, Steve McDaniel up here in the cold 30-degree weather in New York State, the COVID capital of the country. So glad to be here and I'd like to see everybody on.
Okay. Good to have you. Appreciate you checking in with us, and thanks for showing up. I do. I really appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Who else?
Hey, Dan, it's Mike Boso from
Hey,
Ohio.
Mike.
Wow.
Glad to be here. It's 4 degrees this morning here. It's warmed up to 24 though.
Okay, so when's the last time you trimmed your beard? I had to say something smart alecky about it last time, Mike.
Oh, it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
look
since
at
October.
Ed Lisinski. I want you to look at Mike's beard. That's what you need to be growing up there in Wisconsin, brother.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hey, Dan, this is Dominic Sims. I want to make sure all the board members got introduced first, but I just wanted to stop by and say hello to everyone and hope everyone's doing well.
We're absolutely honored to have you on the call. Thanks a bunch for checking in with us, and we appreciate you being here. And I'll recognize the special guest because he's going to be visiting with us in North Carolina on Sunday for an NCBIA board meeting, the ever erudite and entertaining Stephen Jones. Steve, would you say a word?
Word. Hey, greetings. Looking forward to coming up and seeing you guys. It'll be nice to get out of the house for a change before Paula kicks me out. So, yeah. Travel safe, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Be nice to get you out of the house before you start another renovation project. Anybody who wants to see how not to do it and how in the world did that pass inspections, you just need to look at his renovation projects in his new house in Greenville, South Carolina. That's been entertaining to say the least, but you're doing a fine job. It really does look good.
Hey, you can see the ceiling behind me.
I like it. I like it. Anybody else that we hadn't recognized that's not normally on our calls? I'd love to have you chime in. Well, hearing nobody else, I will say that officially Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, we hereby call this meeting of the Building Membership Council to order, and I will bang the gavel, and having done so, ask Bill Nash if he will call the roll.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Dan. Just for the sake of, I'll be calling the roll for the Membership Council Governing Committee. If there are, and there are plenty of guests in the on the call today. So what I would also note is, please, I've shared the agenda on. If you have two screens, you should be able to see that. And there's an email there. It notes that if you are a guest, please, and you'd like to be notified of future meetings and also notified as a identified as a interested party on today's call, please send me an email and you'll be noted as such. So no need to speak up at this point. We'll just do a roll call of the governing committee. Dan Dockery.
Here.
Ed Lisinski.
I am here.
Matt Archer. Thought I saw Matt.
I'm here, sorry.
Yes, no worries, Matt. I got you. Audrey Klein.
I'm here.
Audrey. Doug Maples. Doug Maples. Mark Bethany. Mark
I'm here.
Bethany. Hey,
Yeah,
Mark.
I'm here.
Chris McWhite.
I'm here.
Thank you, Chris. Mike Metcalf. Mike Metcalf. Oh, how'd I get that? Mike Metcalf is no longer with us, is he? But I do see, I didn't think I saw,
Yeah, Mike Metcalf's still on with us, but he actually texted me a little while ago. He's running a little bit late, so he should be joining in a little bit.
yeah, thanks. I saw Steve Mills on. That's what I saw. Excellent. Steve Nordhughes. Steve Nordhughes. Mike Olson. Mike Olson. Amarinda Singh. Amarinda Singh.
Here.
Thank you, Amarinda. Martin Van Gundy. Martin Van
Here.
Gundy. Thank you, Martin. Jim Willamette.
I am here, thank you.
Doug Wise.
I'm here.
Thank you, Doug. Are there anybody else I missed? I think I only see Doug, Mike, and Steve. Any other governing committee members that have not identified themselves? Please do so. Okay, and I'll ask also for any other ICC Board of Directors. Have they joined since we started? Or how about ICC staff members? I see a couple. Mark Roberts.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Doing great.
Good, good, good.
Thanks, Mark. Any other ICC staff members?
You know I'm here.
Yes, Steve, we have you as, thank you, I see that. And of course, we have Dominic with us, of course. That's it, Mr. Chair, you're all set. So I just again note anybody that came in late, if you would like to be identified as a registered guest, interested party, please send me an email. My email is located on the top of the agenda, and I'll be glad to include you with any future notices and any other items of interest. So thank you for joining.
Appreciate it, Bill. Thanks much. And guys, again, GC, appreciate you being here, and our BMC members, whether you're on the GC or not. It's unusual for Doug Maples not to be in the meeting or send some type of notification. Was that Doug that chimed in? Anyway, it's unusual. Make sure, let's shoot an email to Doug, see if he needs any help, if something's come up that he's got issues with. And if he wants to add anything, that way we'll make sure that he gets to share his voice while we're having our meeting, whether he's here or not. Are there any changes or adjustments to the agenda?
I have none, Mr. Chair.
Good deal. Well, let's go right on to item 4. This is a special presentation, our Building Code Action Committee update, and it's from Mike Nugent. Mike's a former, very, very important member of our BMC. Mike's good at what he does. He's a great code official. He's a former recipient. His jurisdiction is of the Innovations in Code Administration Award. Got a lot of respect for Mike, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about something that's, of course, near and dear to all our hearts, and that's code development and how things happen. And so having said that, Mike, I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to turn it over to you, Mike Nugent.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm glad to be here today and glad to see everybody. And it's such a lively group too, because the building code, Action Committee is, while we have our moments of frivolity, it's pretty serious all the time. So this was kind of fun to be here today. I don't know how to cue you to go to the next slide, but you want to go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, Mike, you can see that, correct?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Very well.
So basically, you know, and you all know by now, the code development process is something that's been really a staple of this profession for decades. And it continues to be very much the same way as it kind of was back even in the BOCA days, way back then and stuff like that. But it's an inclusive, transparent process where a whole bunch of players from every interest in the construction industry get together. There's code officials, design professionals, consultants, trade associates, builders, contractors, manufacturers, et cetera. They all, government agencies, we all get together, or anyone that's interested. We have interested parties and stuff like that. We had a meeting yesterday. I think there were 60-something people on it. And like 10 of us were on the committee, and everyone else was interested people. We basically, we're in the finishing the first year of a 3-year process. If you want to go on to the next one, please. Thank you. This is the current committee, and there's a couple familiar names to you. Amber Armstrong, who's a former chairman of the BMC, and also I think Allison Cook is part of this group too, or at least she's a member of the group, and she's a high performer with us as well. But as you can see from the group there, there's, you know, Jeff Grove is a fire protection expert consultant from Vegas, Chris Jensen from UL. There's another Chris Jensen who's also a code professional. You can see there's architects, people from all phases of the construction industry. And they actually are part of the process where we have, in the first, what they call the Group A session, we've gone through some 65 items that will be going forward to the hearings in April. And we've been involved with the BCAC, or with the FCAC, a lot, the Fire Code Action Committee as well. We meet with them regularly. The PMGCAC, we all get together and we co-sponsor things, work together, and it's a pretty good process. And there's a lot of public input too during the process, and wordsmithing, and the product we have to go to hearing is generally pretty good, but then it continues to evolve in that process. Can you go to the next one? And these are Sarah Rice's. She actually was a BOCA employee back in the day. And Jim Smith is from the American Wood Council. They're great people. Next one, please. So there are two different groups, and we're currently getting ready to go to hearing on Group A, which is the IBC egress, IBC and fire safety, IBC general, the International Fire Code, fuel gas code, mechanical code, plumbing code, et cetera, et cetera. And what we started yesterday was actually lining up the things for the Group B meetings that will start as we finish these Group A hearings. We'll be already revving up the Group B stuff for the next section of hearings and stuff like that. So, and those are the admin, IBC structural, International Existing Buildings Code, Energy Conservation Code, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of this big 3-year cycle. And this is, and as code professionals with BCAC, we get to do 2 tours of duty. So this is my 2nd tour of duty with this group. It's funny because I got started in code development, where I actually, when I came back to this profession, I didn't want to say to my town, I want you to pay for me to go to the annual business meeting. So I signed up for the Code of Honor Scholarship and got it. And I had to go to 20 hours of code hearings, and it was for the green code, which would never get adopted probably in South Carolina. But it was a great process, and it really kind of got me hooked at that point. And then I was on the International Existing Building Code Development Committee. And then from there, I went to BCAC. So this has been, it's a great thing. Go on to the next thing. So as you can see, we went through a lot of things. That the 3 main ones, admin has so much to do that they've actually been developing all the way through the Group A stuff, but they won't present until Group B. And their whole kind of mission is to make the codes as consistent as they can be. So when you look at Chapter 1 of all the codes, they're kind of all the same to the greatest extent that they can be, and so on and so on and so on. So they have they have great people working on that. Amber's wonderful. She chairs that group and she does a great job. But with egress is a whole bunch of stuff. And what's cool about this too is it's not just kind of going forward, which we do, but also fixing some of the mistakes of the past too, because every code cycle, things we find out as they begin to implement them, they don't always work as like that we thought they would. So then we come back and try to tweak those as well. And we also have the opportunity for things that didn't make it in the last code cycle to that came close. We can kind of fix those and move those forward as well. And if you haven't been to code hearings, I mean, you got to go. It's just a great school. If you want to go to the blue one for a minute, the blue flow chart, we kind of walk through it. So you can see the code changes are submitted, they are posted. We have code action hearings, online assembly floor, motion stuff. The results are posted, public comment agenda posted, public comment hearings, online governmental consensus voting, and then boom, new addition to the council. That's how the process works. And it works very, very well. And it's exhausting at times, but it's really, really a lot of fun. And I'd encourage any of you that are interested in getting involved in this process. It's a great education. I mean, you think about stuff differently. Like when I'm reviewing plans and things like that, I almost bog myself down, asking myself too many questions about things, which is a good thing though. So it's actually made me a better code professional because I think more about little things and stuff like that. Does anybody have any questions at all? I think there may be one more. Is there one more? Or is it just me saying goodbye? That's me. So that's all my contact information right there. And certainly if you just Google Rock Hill, South Carolina building official, you'll get me. But shoot me an email, shoot me a call anytime. Glad to help out anybody any way I can. Very proud to be a member of our profession. And I've seen it. I mean, I started in the municipal government business in 1975. So I've seen the whole public service business change and evolve a lot. And it continues. And it's because of great professionals like all you guys and gals that are just great public servants and great people, great family people and stuff like that. Proud to be a part of you. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, Ed Wasinski here. I got a question or two for you then, as long as nobody else is jumping in. And
you're fine.
You know me, I don't mind being out there. So
absolutely.
Have you guys come up with anything? Has COVID kind of affected any of the code change proposals that you guys have been coming up with or anything yet this year?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's a really good question. Actually, we wrote I actually worked with a part of our occupancy work group. We wrote an appendix that's good, that actually is going forward, that will give code professionals the ability to, if it's adopted by their community or state, to create the metamorphosis of a gymnasium into a medical facility, to emergency temporary uses, things like that. And that was definitely because of this pandemic and the need for it. And it was great because it was medical professionals involved in it. It was a really eclectic group of really smart people. I was like, wow, I was in awe of them. They did an amazing job of putting that together. So this stuff will be on CDP Access pretty soon. So if you look at that appendix, I think it's the only appendix in the IBC that's coming forward. Take a look at that. It's pretty cool. And I think it'll give code professionals the ability. And the key, and this is like a standby phrase that not everyone's comfortable with, the authority having jurisdiction really can make choices to get things as good as they can be. And it really, and some of us in our profession don't like to not have a line drawn in the sand, but I think we're trying to give the cities, towns, and counties and states the ability to do something and feel comfortable about it. And the other thing that's changed about it is just the way we do business. I mean, we go to Chicago several times a year, and no, we're not doing any of that stuff. We're basically, everything's virtual. The code hearings is going to be virtual. And Mike Pfeiffer's working out how that's going to work exactly as we speak. But you'll be able to sign up or register to test. You have to register, and then if you want to testify, you'll push a button and you get in line at that point. And if you're what a Me Too is, if the guy in front of you, a person in front of you says what you're going to say, you just go Me Too and walk away. But so that whole process will happen as well. So, but it's different, and there's a ray of sunshine that we may be together in the fall. So we'll see. Any other questions?
Anybody else questions? Mike, I appreciate it more than you know, and we almost hated to call on you again, but you've been such a big part of BMC that it was really worthwhile for us to call on you, and I'm thrilled to death you agreed to do this. I want to just touch on a couple things that Mike said because they are near and dear to the BMC and our purpose and our mission. I heard him say servant 2 times in your community. And guys, that's what we are. That's what makes us so valuable. That's how we're able to make such a big positive difference in the built environment in the communities we serve. We are servants here at heart, and it's a wonderful thing. Code is a marvelous tool. It's the second most important tool in the toolbox we've got. The most important tool is our people. It's us. And what Mike basically did is outline a way that you can track progress of codes through an entire development cycle and into completion and into implementation out in our communities. And so it's so important that we all get involved, and it's so important that we all pay attention, and it's so important that we communicate with one another. And when we talk about the servant part of it being such a valid part of that, I want to bring an example up. What he talked about with conversion of gymnasiums into, how did you say it, Mike?
Like a medical facility or temporary
into a
housing
medical facility.
First responders. I mean, there's all kinds of options out there and opportunities.
What we did with the code there, what Mike and his group have done with the code, is they looked out in their communities. They saw a need. They used their experience. They used their education. They used their code knowledge. They used their time, their creativity, and their servant attitude, and they met the community's need. That's what a code professional is all about. And so kudos to you and your group, Mike. We're excited to see the work coming out of it, and I can't thank you enough, and I'm sure the whole BMC feels the same way. We can't thank you enough for doing this for us today. And pick your topic for next month. We're going to call on you again because you're a good speaker.
Glad to spend time with you guys. You guys are such a great group, and you do such a great service for our profession and for your communities and stuff like that. Please be safe. Hopefully we won't be wearing masks forever, and we'll be together again and having dinner. So I'm going to head on to the next one. I appreciate you all. And I've got to look at the Panthers plans. We're building a 600,000 square foot Panther training facility right now. So
you got to love those junior college football teams. My goodness, it's fantastic. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate you, brother. Thanks a bunch. All righty. Again, I encourage you. Biggest note out of all that, get involved. We're doing what we love to do, and we're making a difference in our communities doing it. There's no higher calling in any profession anywhere, in my opinion, than taking care of one another. And that's what we do. So I can't help but thank Mike again and encourage all of y'all as you go through your career to get engaged in that process and make a difference in what you do. After special presentations, let's go to item 5, meeting minutes. All of you received a copy of the meeting minutes from Bill Nash from our November 18th, 2020. Do we have any adjustments to the minutes? Do we have anything that we need to bring up that was incorrect, needs to be changed? Hearing none, I want somebody to make a motion to approve the minutes from November 18th, 2020.
This is Jim.
I make a motion.
Okay, we had 2 motions there, Jim and Mark. Y'all decide who wants to be first chair and second chair on this deal.
I'll second. Matheny.
Okay, we have a motion from Jim Willamette to approve the minutes from November 18th, 2020 as presented. And we have a second from Mark Matheny. Do I have anybody who dissents from that decision? All in favor say aye.
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 Any noes? I will take it that a bunch of people just don't know how to take themselves off of unmute, and we will move forward and call the minutes approved. Okay, and I think I saw another one of our board members who logged on during item 4.
Tom Peterson's here.
That's what I thought I saw. Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're good. Anything you'd like to say to the group before we move on?
Just sorry for being late, but I appreciated Mark's presentation.
Good deal. Good deal. We appreciate having you here. Thanks a bunch.
You bet. Thanks for the invite.
Okay. Moving on to item 6, action items. We'll go through these quickly. Number 1, write an email to Jim Sayers requesting assistance with meeting scheduling. Actually, I did not have to write that email. We had enough positive response from that suggestion over the last couple meetings that is already happening. And Bill, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to elaborate a little bit on that. The purpose of this, guys, is so that we can get all of the council's main meeting schedules on one calendar. And that way our membership everywhere, not just in the councils, but our membership from people on the board who are interested, our membership from other councils who are interested, our general membership, all can look at one location and find out when the main meetings for each group are, so that they can schedule a little better at attending those meetings and interact a little more with the councils. And having said that, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Hey, thanks, Dan. Yeah, so this has been an ongoing action item for us for a few months now, and we hear you all loud and clear, particularly the board of directors, of course. Scheduling meetings has been challenging, even more so now with COVID. We seem to be spending an awful lot of time in front of these stupid computers. But yes, what we've been able to affect through our IT group is eliminate the number of quote calendars that are under our news and events calendar page, and reduced the membership councils into one. And if you go there and check, you'll see that most of our councils now are at this point listing their, not only their governing committee meetings, but also subcommittee, task group, other meetings of the like, to keep at least the membership council activities, all of the membership council activities in one place for you all to go to. I also believe, I have not checked it yet, but we've tried to effect a link to be placed on each of the membership council pages. So please check that, and if there are any hiccups or glitches, please let me know, and I will be glad to continue to follow up on it. I hear you, and nobody likes to, everybody would like to attend the meetings, and we all feel that same way. I will just make one note. The Major Jurisdictions Committee is technically not a council, but as part of what we do with the Continuity and Outreach Subcommittee, we include them as a entity similar to councils. So working with staff liaisons to affect putting their members, their membership councils or the groups they're responsible before onto the webpage. We're encouraging them to do so, and it looks like so far so good. So please keep an eye on it, but generally we're heading in the right direction there.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. And I want everybody to keep in mind that what we're trying to do is create vehicles that can be shared across councils. We don't want any one council to own anything. We want everybody to benefit from everybody else's actions. The things that we see that would help us the most are participation and communication, and you can't do either without the other. So we're going to try to help with the other councils at making vehicles where everybody can take advantage of the good work that ICC and the councils and all of our members are doing. And this is just one more step in that direction. And so I thank Bill Nash for being the leader on that one and getting it done. Item number 2 is this one will actually go to Bill Nash after this meeting. This will be the 3rd meeting I've brought it up. I always felt that we were hamstrung just a little bit by our bylaws, which, while they dictate the composition of the membership and kind of the bona fides of the membership, they do not make any allowance for people whose job schedules and time in their own jurisdiction, and I know that's their number one responsibility, didn't make any allowance for them to not take up a seat on a governing committee. And those seats, yes, they're volunteers, but we hold elections and we nominate and elect people to fill the seats on our GCs, and with it comes a commitment. And that commitment is that I'm going to be working on behalf of every other code official who's going to be touched by the things that I or the person sitting next to me on the GC does. And we thought it would be better if we had some kind of vehicle in there that was that did outline a removal for not attending meetings and also offered grace if you had good reason, and also precluded your elimination from serving on a council in the future. So we have amended our bylaws. We will be sending that to the board of directors for approval. We did vote as per the bylaws on our own governing committee, and it did pass overwhelmingly. I think it's a good thing. Again, all it does is offer a way for a member who cannot serve and do their job in service to the governing committee at this time a way out, but it does not preclude them rejoining when their situation changes. And we want active members. We want people who are really, really able to work hard to fill those seats on the governing committees. And we don't want to penalize anybody whose work at home precludes them from having that opportunity, nor do we want to make it so they don't feel comfortable coming back in the future. And the way you do that is communication. And when you put it in writing and you enforce it and you're realistic about it and also empathetic and thoughtful about it, then it builds not just friendships, but good working relationships, and it helps us do better. And so that will be going to Bill Nash to be sent to the full board, and I hope it passes. I look forward to it. Again, we think it's a good thing, and I think as the chair of BMC, I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't try to follow up and push this through, so that the people who follow me didn't have to fight this battle again. And it's not an egregious battle. It's just something that I think will make us all stronger. And with that, I'll move on to number 3. I've asked our GC members to send me lists of people who are their partners. And that's because I don't feel uncomfortable recognizing who my own partners are, but I don't want to miss anybody. As we become more engaged in sending out good ideas to the people we do business with and the people who are our peers in the community, our partners in the community, we don't want to miss anybody. We want to keep everybody on the same page. We want to keep that communication focused. And so I'm building partner lists, and those are not just other code officials. Those are the people that we do business with in our own home jurisdictions. It's the people who are engaged in chapter activities. Of course, it's our other councils. It's everybody who would benefit from closer communications with one another. And so even if you're not a GC member, I encourage you. My email is DAND, D-A-N-D, @cityofws.org. I encourage you to send me an email with your partners. I want to know who you value in your community, in your working relationships, that makes it easier and better for you to do business. And if you've got a special note about how you approach somebody who wasn't a partner and you turned them into one, I want to know that too, because that's good information and it makes us better. Item number 4, ICC staff to write and promote an article relative to the Innovation in Code Administration Award. I want to say this was another wonderful, in my opinion, event. We partnered with the fire service, and what we did was we hosted some of our Innovation in Code Administration applicants, let them talk about our programs or their programs, and then we paneled people to talk about the benefit of those programs. If anybody wants to say anything about that now's the time. I was absolutely nothing more than an attendee to that meeting, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'd like to hear somebody else's opinion of how that went.
Hey Dan, this is Matheny. Just to chime in a little bit, and I'll cheat a little bit because I was part of at least the panel. You know, what I really liked about it was not only did it open up a lot of eyes and a lot of potential for the innovation, but the format was a very engaging format, right? We got a lot of cross communication at the moment, but then also like in the little chats and that kind of stuff. But even afterwards, right, there were a lot of things that happened. You know, I picked up 3 LinkedIn friends, and the lady out of Texas we've been going back and forth because we had similar concepts, and we've already gone through kind of lean for government items. And so I think the level of engagement was just fantastic for that forum and that format.
Anybody else? Well, not hearing anybody jump in, I'll say the same thing. I think it's fantastic. This, by the way, this event was a follow-up to our joint event with Fire Service Membership Council, where we sort of addressed some of the problems brought on by the COVID pandemic and the way that different jurisdictions handled those. That was 4 recurrent events that led up to Building Safety Month, and I thought helped set a great stage for it. And my goal is, or our goal is, to do this on a more regular basis where we have partnerships between councils to highlight conditions that cause us to think, to develop, to encourage, to build in our communities. The next one, just so y'all know right now, is going to be a joint event, and it will be between the Emerging Leaders Membership Council, major jurisdictions, and Building Membership Council. And what we will do, we will address a situation made much more horrible by the pandemic, and that is homelessness. But we'll also look at it knowing that COVID will go away, homelessness will not. And we want to look at how people deal with it, how they deal with it in good weather, how they deal with it in bad weather, how they deal with it in political climates where it's brought to the forefront and used for sometimes political gain, and how we look at it when it retreats and people don't think they can make a highlight reel out of it and forget about it. We can't forget about it because we serve the communities. And Major Jurisdictions has put out a marvelous white paper. I encourage you all to go read through it. We will use that as one of the important documents in presenting this. Don't have a date yet. We actually will meet in March for our first go round as partners to discuss how we want to present it. But I want you all to look for it, and I want you all to contribute to it, because again, it is an important thing. It's a plague on our communities, and it's a terrible, terrible thing that some of our citizens and somebody's loved ones have to suffer through. So we need to look at how we as code officials can help. Ideas for guest speakers. Ed, you want to talk about that for a moment?
Sure. Yeah, I don't. I think you've been going on for half an hour straight. So sure, let's let somebody else jump in here. So, yeah, if anybody has any ideas for guest speakers, this is something that actually kind of came out of the continuity and outreach group a little bit. The Fire Service Membership Council, they started doing guest speakers at their meetings, and again, you know, continuity and outreach, we like to steal from each other and share great ideas. So we kind of jumped in there and started doing this. We did one last year as well about connecting with your work staff as they're working remotely, and then obviously Mike Nugent today. So again, if there's topics, ideas, you know, that the membership wants to hear about, or any of the GC members or anybody out there, you know, something 15-20 minutes worth, you know, we'd love to get a full lineup of speakers kind of you know, in line for the rest of the year here, so we have something to present to the membership. So again, you know, Dan gave his email. I think they're yeah, both Dan and my and Bill Nash's emails are all on the agenda. So if anybody has any ideas of, you know, topics that are interesting, something that you want to hear about, something that you think the rest of the membership would like to hear about, we'd love to have them.
Thanks. And again, it's something that we want to do every meeting if we can, because I think it's valuable to us, and I think it starts conversations. I love it when we talk to one another, and I love it when we share with one another. Moving right into 6, Ed, I think that's going to be yours and Bill's again too.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, so number 6, the initiative matrix. I'll let Bill kind of give a little bit of an update, but before he does, that's obviously our continuity and outreach, our main document that we come up with. That's what tracks what all the different membership councils are working on, again, I talk to you guys about it every meeting. It's different innovation ideas that they're working on, who's doing it, what the status is of it, what's that contact information, so you can jump in there and if you want to learn more about it, or if you want to help out on that membership council, if you've got some background in something like the homeless crisis that Dan was just talking about, you can find out who's working on that and jump in there, kind of lend some help to them. One of the things I know we haven't gotten together as a group since November, and I just want to touch base on this at the ICC Board of Directors December meeting. Dan and we presented our annual report to them for the BMC, and I gave a little bit of a talk on the continuity and outreach. And it was very well received. I think the board of directors are really impressed with what we've been putting together, and that comes from you guys. I just kind of kick back and collect the data, and the reports from you guys, and get that to Bill, and then we kind of craft that thing. So thank you guys for making that such a important document. And it's really I'll turn it over to Bill here in a second. You'll kind of get the update on what we're sort of doing with that. If you go into there right now, it hasn't really been updated in a little bit, because we're trying to change things around a little bit, make it more of a dynamic document instead of just a static list. We're also adding in a section for collaboration ideas and things like that. So what we've been working on with the FSMC, with those meetings that Dan was just talking about, with that homeless one that he was mentioning. There's also sustainability membership councils doing some videos that we'll talk about a little bit later on in the meeting here. So there's all these great things that the different membership councils are working on together. So we also want to make sure that we highlight those and get those out there, just in case another membership council says, hey, that's a great idea, we want to jump in there on that too. So with that, Bill, can you give a little update on where this document's going?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ed. So this is a great document that we have to give credit to former chair of this council, Chris.
Young. Chris Young.
Chris Young.
Right, Chris Young. So this was the brainchild of Chris, the Continuity and Outreach Subcommittee. So we really need to give him credit. But what was born out of this, one of the main items, is this initiative matrix that really has become, like Ed said, our go-to document that helps us with reporting what we do across the board. And we refer to it often. So it is our go-to document. What's just as exciting about this is that, as Ed explained, we were getting ready to present our annual report in conjunction with the Fire Service Membership Council, which both Dan and Ed and the Fire Service Group did with the Board of Directors back in December. I was able to expound on many of these initiatives. So from that, again, was born this idea, and Ed brought it up, the dynamic document, if you will. We've decided, and we've reached out, and I am working directly with ICC IT staff on making this matrix a dynamic document that is interactive and being able to use. I can report to you all that just Friday I received 2 draft copies of that, so I need to review those and maybe make some changes, but you should see that up on the web pages soon. On that note, that's the other item. We've talked about the calendar and how the calendar is front and center and visible for everybody. The matrix is not yet. It does not gain the status of calendar level yet, but it will soon enough, because it really does report on all the great work that the councils and the major jurisdiction committee is doing. And more importantly, as Ed also touched on, the collaboration. It's one thing for it to report on and avoid the duplication of efforts, but just as important, it reports on the collaboration between all of the councils and the committee. It's just a great thing for us to be able to demonstrate to people the great work that our members do. So I'm glad to be part of it, glad to be working towards it, and it is on top of my list to get active on the website again. So thank you, Ed, for the opportunity.
Good stuff, Ed. Thanks. Bill, thanks too. Any questions about the matrix right now? Okay, good deal. And we've talked about it repeatedly with all of the other councils, and they're on board and they're contributing to it too. This again is not a building membership council document. This is an ICC membership council's document. This is how we keep track with one another. This is a go-to living, breathing document that we can find out who's doing what, who owns specific projects, who we can talk to if we want to contribute. It's going to be, in my opinion, a great thing for all of the councils, and I'm thrilled to death that it's in operation and it's been so well received, and that all of the councils are wanting to put or wanting to have input in it.
Hey, Dan,
yeah.
if you get one last thing, if I'd be remiss if I didn't suggest, because we're moving into our next part of the agenda for reports, and when we get to this continuity and outreach, but I'd be remiss. The only way this document works and is effective is if our liaisons to and from the committees, and we have liaisons, we're going to talk about that in a second. It only works if you update it, and there's a simple process to update. I'm going to try to make it even easier with an online version, getting there, but it only works if we update it. So we update it, then it's on me to publish it. So please, we'll emphasize this when we get into the continuity report. But if you're a liaison, communicate with us. We'll get it on the matrix, and we'll get it out there, and we'll get it usable for our members.
Good point. Good point. And again, Bill's going to say that again before it's over with, and so will Ed, because we believe that repetition, when we're trying to do things that are important to everyone, repetition helps us remember them. I know it does me. And I'll use that as a segue into item 7, subcommittee reports. And again, when we started to kind of repurpose or refocus our direction as a building membership council, we thought, what are we doing? What's our mission? What do we want to accomplish? And so we, of course, raised the profile, but we created 2 new committees. And before we get into the committee reports, I want to tell you what the idea is behind them. And I'll say it again probably at the next meeting and the next one, because this is the mission part of it. Communities building best practices and innovation, raise the profile, continuity, and outreach. They're not in the order that we developed them, but they're all there. Continuity and outreach, what we're doing is we're, through all of our councils working together, communicating together, we're finding out what's important to our membership, and we're finding out who's got a line on it, who's going to work on it, who's going to get involved in it, who's going to be tasked with specific items to make happen so that it benefits our membership. And we're going to use the matrix to keep score, basically. That's what it is. It's how do we keep score? How do we keep from duplicating or replicating efforts? How do we put people with like minds together? How do we put people with complementary goals and complementary skill sets together to help our members? Well, we communicate through continuity and outreach, and then we document it and we keep score. All of the good programs and all of the good work that comes out of continuity and outreach then moves over to communities building best practices and innovation. And that's where they're recorded. That's where they become partnership items that are fleshed out, and they go out and we communicate that to our peers and our partners all the way, everywhere that the codes serve people. That's what we want to do, is be able to more effectively communicate and serve the people who depend on the codes for building safety in their community. Our community building best practices and innovation group will do that. And then the final step of it, when we're able to successfully implement it, it serves as the tool we need to raise the profile of the inspections and our building safety officials everywhere. And we want to give a face to public safety, in the built environment, to building safety. We want to give a face to it, and that's not Ed Lisinski's face or Audrey's face or Chris McWhite's face or Stephen Jones' charming profile. What it is, it's when people think, how do I keep my buildings, my home, my family safe? They think of a code professional. Let us not only celebrate what we do, but let us also work towards recognizing what we do for benefiting our community, that will make it easier for us to be successful doing it. And I know that a lot of us don't want to do that. I hate that old saying, when an inspector does his job, nothing happens. Well, that's the backside of it. It ought to say when an inspector does his job, everything good in the built environment happens. And that's what we want people to realize. And so I'm thankful that the committees are there. And now I'm going to hush and let our subcommittee chairs talk about what they're doing. First up is community building best practices and innovation. That's Mr. Mark Matheny, Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, welcome to CBBPI. Community building best practices and innovation. I get the tongue twister. That's good because I talk a lot, so I can put a lot of words out there in a short period of time. So I'm going to throw a plug out for next week, Wednesday the 24th at 3 p.m. February 24th, 3 p.m. We have our CBBPI subcommittee meeting. So just a little bit behind this. When the agenda and the documents come out, I was long on getting those to Bill, so I'm not going to blame Bill. I'm going to blame myself. So those will come out. We'll see the agenda. We'll see a couple of documents. And what we've done is we've got these running documents. Basically, there's two primary documents. One is the best practices, new document development. And then the other one breaks down both organizations, right? Best practices and innovation. So the document is basically a replacement. If you all remember the 2017, I believe it was. It's an IAS ICC document. It's like a book. It's an electronic book, but it's like a book. And what we're doing is we're updating and making improvements to that, right? But we're making it much more accessible and much more fluid, right? We talked about kind of a collaborative document, a fluid document, and that's where we're going with it. So there's large chunks of steps that get us there. One of the initial steps is developing basically a survey to inquire or to have available somebody who has a best practice, right? So we need that survey, and that's going to capture the information. What we're going to do with that survey initially is we're going to send that out to the people who are already certified through IAS, right? Because that's the easiest one. Working with them, we're going to build the survey, send it out there. We're going to set it into a website, have it on a single location. And then once we tweak through the pieces, because it's the first draft, once the pieces are refined, then we're going to get it into a permanent location, and then people can feed into that, right? It's not only outgoing and expecting people to reply to, hey, fill out this survey, which everybody loves. It's, hey, here it is, and go get it and fill it out, and then we're going to review it and then categorize it, right? And that'll always be fluid and be moving in that location. So I say all that to say that the survey is done, and we're just running into some technical difficulties right now about the location. So that's still very close. We're working out a couple of details probably within the next 2 weeks. If one direction doesn't work, then we're going to pick another direction as far as where it's going to sit for a period of time, right? That's all we're trying to do right now. So it's completed. We're pretty close to getting it up and running. So very much looking forward to that. And that's the one piece, right? What we find in both this best practices document and then we find out also in innovation is there's a couple of core like teams or groups that kind of flesh themselves out of this. And what's going to happen certainly on the best practices part is there's a couple levels of evaluation, right? And I may or may not have mentioned it in this meeting. We're working with IAS, like I said, also major jurisdictions, right? And so major jurisdictions already has a group that's reviewing best practices, and they put them up on their website, and it's on their page. But this document will also incorporate some of those people, and so. But this subcommittee will also have a group that's going to be within that evaluation type of thing. For best practices and for innovation, you kind of run into kind of a marketing team, right? And I say marketing, and other people have different ideas of what that actually means, but marketing is getting out to all of our members, right? Getting out to all of the people. We have an amazing product, but it's not amazing if nobody knows about it or if they can't get to it, right? So the trick is to have a marketing, what I call a marketing team, just for the use of the term, to let people know that it's there, and not only to let them know that it's there because we want them to put input on it, but we also want them to use the resource that's there and available to them. And then the kind of a little piece of that also is like a social media part, which I don't think is the same as a marketing team, but they may overlap. And this is really more about broadcasting it out and continuously, right? Hey, something great came in from Austin, Texas, and then poof, it all goes out. Everybody knows what an amazing little segment that, as of yesterday, Austin, Texas put in there. So that's where that comes together. I'll get into more detail about that. We're also working very similarly, not quite a document, but we're working on a couple of things on the innovation side of it, about who we're identifying as innovators, and how do we recognize them, and then how do we get the word out, right? So there's that repeating thing: is we provide an excellent product, we let everybody know that product is out there, and we get the input and then the output. So if you come hang out with me next week at 3 o'clock on the 24th, we'll get in a little more detail with the team. So that's about all I got. Any questions?
Again, give us the date of your next meeting, Mark.
February 24th, 3 p.m.
February 24th, 3 p.m. If you heard something in that, and I heard a lot of things that stoked your interest, make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be a good thing. Next would be raise the profile, but since the chair of that is not here, I'm going to defer. I'm going to move continuity outreach up next. Just all of our task group chairs for raise the profile, 3 of them, Chris, Amrinder, Matt, y'all be ready to talk about your initiatives in raise the profile. You'll be coming up next, but now we'll move continuity and outreach up, and that's Ed Lisinski.
All right, thanks, Dan. Yeah, so continuity and outreach, actually, we already talked quite a bit about most of the stuff that we just had. We just had a meeting February 2nd. Following Mark's lead, our next meeting will probably be the first Tuesday in April. Then we're going to go with the first Tuesday of every other month from here on out for our regular meeting time. Actually, that was just determined a little while ago, so that's breaking news for everybody on that committee. So mark your calendars. Probably that first Tuesday in April will be our next meeting. But continuity and outreach, we just did have a meeting February 2nd. Like I said, we talked a lot about the matrix. Again, liaisons, get those updates to us. I think we have a couple that are going to go in there, but we'll get that matrix continuously updated. And then we talked about the calendaring quite a bit, and scheduling of meetings and making sure that we're all using one calendar and not scheduling meetings over each other. Again, liaisons, talk to your, whoever's the ICC staff liaison to that council, and remind them to get your meetings onto that calendar as well, so everybody can see them and everybody can attend those if they need to. In addition to that, we did have a new liaison to the PMG Membership Council, and that's Doug Wise. So I wanted to thank him for stepping up and taking over there. In addition to that, we did have a lot of really good updates from all of the different membership councils. One of the things that we also talked about, and actually I see it coming up later on in our agenda as well, so I'll just mention it now, but we'll talk about it in a little bit, is the Sustainability Membership Council. They're doing some Building Safety Month videos, and Christopher McWhite actually stepped up. He's going to be kind of our point person for those, and kind of working with the Sustainability Membership Council. They want to get every membership council together to put some videos out there for Building Safety Month on various topics. I think we may end up with 2 of them, one on raise the profile, and then actually one on just kind of like a general raise the profile, and then one on a little bit more specific raise the profile type stuff is I think what we're talking about, but that's still Christopher's still kind of working on that and hashing that out with Hope from the Sustainability Membership Council. So with that, I will actually call on some of our liaisons to give any little updates that they have on what those other different membership councils and major jurisdictions are working on. And we'll try keeping this brief because I know we still got a lot to cover here in the meeting. But if any of those liaisons want to take a minute or two and just kind of give us a quick update on what the other membership councils are working on, we'll do that. Why don't we, Jim Williamette, why don't you give us a start here, because you usually got quite a bit to say with major jurisdictions.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. Actually, I was actually in training last major jurisdictions meeting, so unfortunately I could not attend. Sam Palmer, if he's on, he may be able to talk about a couple things. But I read the minutes, and one of the things I found really interesting in the minutes that I didn't know if I heard talked about today or not. That's IAS is hoping to publish another best practices handbook later this year. That means it's going to be updated to some extent of what's going on, and that's actually really good, getting that handbook published back out and being tied into the IAS and everything they do for us really does help. So that was the main thing that I wanted to touch about. Some of the other things I talked about is how other jurisdictions are dealing with code development and remotely during the pandemic. And it was interesting to hear the different things that were happening on that. Once again, I did only read the minutes on it. I didn't talk to anyone on that. So I'm not sure if Sam's on or not. Sam, are you on?
He was on before, but I don't see him on here anymore. I think we must have pissed him off somewhere along the way. Right.
The other thing they talked about is remote video inspections, drone inspections, and different things like that. So there was some really good stuff going on. If you guys haven't had a chance looking at the white paper for homelessness that major jurisdictions put together, I implore you to take a look at it. If you're not dealing with homelessness in your area, kudos. We are dealing with it in St. Paul, and after reading that paper and it help us do a lot. So that's all I've got, Ed. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Audrey, can you give us a fire service update?
Actually, they're meeting tomorrow. I was just checking to see if Tim was on, if he had anything to say from last month, but I don't see him. Tim, are you here?
Yeah, I didn't see him. He's usually at the meetings, but.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So after tomorrow.
Yep. No, thanks, Audrey. Mark Matheny, you want to jump in there on global?
Of course, I talk every chance I get. Yeah, two items that are similar. There's a lot going on there, but the two ones, just to keep it brief, that are super interesting is they created two like code mapping maps, I guess. And they actually, one of them is nationwide and the other one is international. So just a fantastic resource to allow outside sources to identify, what basically nationally what code and what cycle they're on, pretty close to what cycle they're on, and maybe some contact information. And then, kind of amazingly, globally, if there is some level of model code or base code and an organization that runs that, they have that information in there also. And that's evolving all the time. There, as new information comes on and people add to that, it's a pretty spectacular, super dynamic document, both of them.
Awesome, thanks. Let's see, Chris McWhite, you want to jump in there on sustainability?
Absolutely, thank you. So sustainability has been extremely active recently because there's, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yep. So sustainability has been really active recently, especially with the dust up dealing with the code development of the energy code. The challenge that they're having is whether it needs to be changed entire ICC, because there was a general question that's being brought to the fore by the board about whether there needs to be a change in how the energy code is actually being developed, whether it should be remaining a code as we understand it and know it, or if it should be brought forward as a standard, very much like we reference NFPA codes for fire and the rest of it. So that's a robust conversation they're having there. They also are looking at long-term code development processes and see if there's anything else needs to happen. What I found interesting in their conversation was that at the time when they first talked about this last month, there was a feeling that they hadn't actually officially opined to the general populace about their opinion on that change. And so they were working to put a letter together to address that. And that was talked about again on February 8th. They different things now. That's the tip of the iceberg. If anybody to tune in to any of their meetings, I would strongly encourage it. You get a lot of good information. Their next meetings are going to be, there's another one coming up later this month on the 26th. I'm looking forward to that. The one they had on the 8th, it was a very good conversation. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Chris. Doug Wise, I won't put you on the spot yet because I know you just jumped onto the PMG. If you do have anything to say, though, if you want to jump in, feel free here.
Yeah. The next meeting is Tuesday at 1 o'clock. I've been looking over the agenda. A lot of interesting stuff they're working on, looks like. So I'll report back to you after the meeting and try and give you guys an update.
Excellent, thanks. And Mike Olson's not here. He's our liaison to the emerging leaders, but I do see Elizabeth Arrington. Elizabeth, did you want to have anything to update on emerging leaders?
Hi, it's Elizabeth. I don't have much of an update. We are still working on our Safety 2.0, and Allison's heading that up. Safety 2.0 review. We're working with Maddie and looking at the technical training program. Some people are working on Building Safety Month activities. We do have an Instagram account now. So if you have an Instagram, I'd like to encourage you to follow us on that. And I just want to say that the ELMC members seem to be very active with other committees and groups through ICC. And we're very active at a regional and local level. And so if you know a potential ELMC member, encourage them to participate in our meetings and at a local and a regional level, and we'd appreciate it. So thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And again, I would definitely encourage everybody on here, if you get some time, and watch that scheduling that ICC has on there, and watch for these other, membership councils and everything. Just sitting in on some of those, I've been trying to catch as many of them as I can. You just learn so much, even if you don't participate, even if you just sort of kick back in the background and just listen, you get, 12, 15 really intelligent people together that are passionate about a certain topic. You just learn so much, and it just, you can apply. I don't think I've sat through a membership council meeting yet where I haven't been able to take something back and apply it to my day-to-day job. So if you have time, I encourage everybody to, even if you're not a liaison, just sit in on some of those meetings and listen back to what everybody's talking about. So with that, Dan, I'll kick it back to you.
I'd say, Dan, if I could, Ed, just to be clear on the agenda, there was a request from the emerging leaders relative to the liaison. Would you like to address it now, or?
I'll go ahead and address it if that's okay.
Sure.
We have a member of the BMC GC who's, because of his work schedule, he has not been able to attend our meetings, and also as a liaison to ELMC, he's not been able to attend any of their meetings. And so they asked if they could have a little more active participation in continuity and outreach. And Ed, the chair of continuity and outreach, will be naming a new liaison to ELMC shortly. But in the interim, I will be attending their meetings, which works out well because we're going to be very close partners on the presentation for homelessness. And so we will get that taken care of. And my apologies to our ELMC groups. We let you down on that one. We won't do it again. And thanks for bringing it to our attention. And we'll make that change and we'll make it happen. And again, Ed will be naming a new liaison very shortly. And so that'll be a good thing.
Yep. Thanks for bringing that up, Bill. And thanks for Dan for stepping in there for the time being.
Okay. Now raise the profile. Chris, since you've already spoken, we're going to start with you. You want to go ahead and talk about your task group?
All right, so we're talking about the scouting initiative, yeah?
Yes.
All right, good news. So when last we were on the ranch, if we go back to one of the Westerns, the idea was to build a better relationship between between them and the scouting program in America Today, with Girl Scouts and Scouting, formerly known just as Boy Scouts of America. I have run into an impasse. They are dealing with some serious legal issues, which you may or may not be aware of. Don't want to air the dirty laundry right now. But the challenge I had was who can actually answer the question of, can we get this done? Who do we contact? And I got a lot of crickets in response. However, I do sit on a national religious relationships coordination committee with the Scouting BS. An email to the chairman of that committee that I'm on, and he said that he would take the information that we have put together for the Scouting initiative and identify somebody within the ranks who is of a mind to receive what we're trying to do. It is a moving target right now because people are changing positions. Some are retiring. Some are being asked to retire. And so who to ask has become more of a challenge than either one of us have considered. But nobody has forgotten about it, and we are still pushing forward.
Good deal. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chris. And it's like so many other organizations, times change and people change. Our job is when we find a good way to partner with anybody that affects our community or how we do business in our community, it's our duty as servants of the code and servants of building safety to go out and try to make contact and see how we can partner with them. It takes forever because we're not only changing our culture and outreach, we're also asking other people to adapt theirs slightly. But what we look at is the things that we have that are similar, the things that we have are different, and how do both of those wonderful things work together to make us all stronger as a team. And so it's not something we're going to give up on. And Chris, I thank you for pursuing it and continue to pursue it. And I know we're running into roadblocks, but we're going to get this thing done. That's just it in a nutshell. We are going to get this thing done. And I'm proud of you for it, man. I really am. Just hang in there with it. We'll do it. We will do it. Now I'm going to go to Amrinder Singh. Amrinder, are you still on here?
Yes, I am, sir. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right, sir. Thank you. So I just have a brief update for everybody. One of the two projects that we were working on is pretty much completed. So the one that is completed is our building department proclamation letters. We have created a draft template proclamation that we can issue to building departments that wish to be recognized. We actually made several versions of the template. One is a generic one, just referencing the building department and the staff. Another version of the template is actually a little bit more detailed, where we can actually even include some stats and data from the department's performance if they wish to add those type of statistics to the template. So one of the things that we need to work on with that is, and I was on a call with Mr. Nash and Ed about a few weeks ago regarding coming up with a way, either we need to have some type of an email or like a portal, or we need to figure out a way of how we can let how we can let the membership know that this template is available, and how we can start going about issuing it. Do we have people fill out a form? Do we have them just simply email us? I guess we just need to finalize those logistics on how we can actually start issuing these. And the second project regarding the actual recognition letters, a rough draft has been completed. I don't believe that one has been finalized by you guys yet, and I'm gonna get with the new team members, some old team members at the call previously that said they wish to continue to work on this project, and we will confirm if the letters are what the way we want the letters to be worded. Does it entail everything we were discussing over the past few months? And hopefully we can then start coming up with a way of pretty much issuing those as well. So that's the quick update that I have for these. And if there's any questions, I will be more than happy to answer. Thank you.
Any questions for Amarinder? Matt Archer, are you on? Have you got something that you want to add in Raise the Profile?
Yes, I am here. Thank you. I've been incredibly busy, so I was not able to make the last meeting. I think Ed, I hope Ed stood in for me, but I haven't followed up with him, so I will be doing that. But obviously one of the most easiest things that we can do is raising the profile is everything that we do every day that you keep bringing up, Dan. Just by reaching out to anybody helps raise the profile of what we do and how we do it. But another easy way of doing that is Building Safety Month, which is coming up, which is May. Again, we've got Proclamation template, which sounds like it's ready to go. That's something that is very easy to take advantage of, and step up and get in front of your city council and your local jurisdictions. Introduce yourself. It's a great way to say, we are here. We are here for the community. We are here to provide a service and to get a proclamation. Usually officials love signing proclamations. Unfortunately, my jurisdiction does not, but I still get up, I still ask every year, and the mayor is very kind and says, no, thank you. But it is an opportunity for us to step up and say, this is what we do, and this is how we do it, and this is who we partner with. It's great if you can bring along your fire officials with you. It's a fantastic opportunity to reach out with your partners that you work with, as Dan has said, and bring them forward and say, this is the community that keeps us safe. And it's a nice, easy way to get a signed piece of paper that's helps raise the profile. So that in a nutshell is Building Safety Month. I know Ron is a huge advocate of it. I don't know if he's got anything else to add to that, or if I missed something in the last meeting that Ed might want to bring up. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could, it might not be a bad thing to do here at this point to kind of put your money where your mouth is. It is Building Safety Month time of the year. It wouldn't be out of order to suggest a motion to proclaim Building Safety Month. We certainly can do something more official as we approach May, but May creeps up on us. I'm not sure if any other councils have done this yet, but would not be a bad thing to entertain if you're so inclined.
I'm fully willing to entertain it if somebody would like to do it.
Well, I would defer to Matt. He broached the topic here, so if he'd like to make the motion, I would certainly second it behind him.
All right, I would love to bring the motion. I was thinking Ron would do it just out of he's always been the guy to do it, but I understand he's with the board. I would love to bring a motion forward for Building Safety Month proclamation for the BMC group.
And I will second that, and I hope we're the first membership council out there, so I can remind all the other membership councils, hey, we did it. So you guys better get on your horse in my next continuity and outreach meeting.
There you go. There you go. Gig them a little bit. And I just got a note from Stephen says there are already some jurisdictions submitting them. Ask for a signing with your mayor or council, or for your chapters that are state organizations. Ask
Absolutely.
for your governor to do it.
Absolutely. It's not too early. It's not too early to be asking.
It's now is the time to ask.
Yeah, you actually do better when you start early. The way we've always done it in Kentucky, and maybe that's why we always lead the nation. But anyways, yeah, we do take Building Safety Month very, very serious, but every month's Building Safety Month with us. But hopefully COVID will ease up a little bit this year, and maybe we can make some school visits and and get in front of our local legislators a little bit more. Last year was kind of a bust on a lot of things, but hopefully it'll work out better this year. Matt, thank you for all you do for Raise the Profile.
Dan, if I could quickly, I know you're up against some time here, but good point by Ron. Never too early. Please reach out to your GR rep. If you know Matt, what Matt's doing and having and putting stuff together, believe us, staff has put together some tremendous aids, if you will, or documents that can help you with this. So please reach out to your GR person. If you don't know who they are, let me know and I will put you in touch with them. And let's get your jurisdictions. Let's get your governors. Let's get your mayors. Let's get your building departments. Anybody can proclaim Building Safety Month. Anybody.
And Matt made a good point about sometimes mayors and councils are a little bit loath to do it. We never could get one signed in Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. And so what I did, we have pretty good relationships with our builders. We work very, very hard on it. So I just started asking my Home Builders Association president, my Regional Association of Realtors president, the president of Northwest AIA, a couple of our local commercial contractors to come and stand with me to receive it. And then when I carried the proclamation across to the mayor's and the county manager's office, I said, by the way, these people want to thank you for being willing to sign it so that they can stand up on behalf of the communities that they build and receive it from you. Never had a problem getting one signed since. And each year the mayor wants to come in and take our pictures with us and all of our partners out there. And so remember, we're a lot stronger when we recognize our partners, when we utilize our partners, and when we do things together. And that's the whole moral of that story.
Yeah, and I just wanted to jump in just because you brought up the state. This is Matt Archer again. One thing Colorado does is we always have the governor, Becky, takes great care of us to get that proclamation signed every year. But the other thing that we do is we ask if we can have the flag that flew over the Capitol for Building Safety Month. And they are usually gracious enough to grant that to us with a certificate. And then we gift that to somebody that went above and beyond for Building Safety Month or raising the profile. That is a great way of sharing something quite special with people that are doing outstanding work.
That's a great idea, Matt.
And y'all have to pardon me. I was typing. I cannot do two things at once. So there we go. I appreciate that. Matt, thanks a bunch. And that is all of our subcommittee reports. We want to move quickly into old and new business, and we're going to go through this fast because we are at 4:30, and I know people have other obligations always. We've already covered a charge. Yeah.
I think, well, we do have a motion and a second to declare Building Safety Month. We need to take a quick vote on it.
Ed Lisinski. Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. And who provided the motion and who provided the second? Matt provided the motion. Who provided the second?
Yep. I got in there on the second. Yep.
Ed provided the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? No.
I'll take care of that, Mr. Chair, for you. Make sure they get submitted. Work with you on
Thank you. I will call that unanimous, and that motion is approved. Old and new business, charter change proposal. We have already talked about that. Guest speakers for BMC, we've talked about that. Joint meetings, collaboration discussions. We talked about our innovations follow-up event or joint topic earlier in the day. We'll go past that. Major jurisdictions, item number 2, subgroup 2, homelessness. Again, I want to thank emerging leaders for reaching out during that very conversation and saying we want to be partners. I look forward to partnering with them. It's going to be a good thing. I look forward to James Willamette's and Sam Palmer's contributions to that. And just as a side note, everybody, this is for Chris as a liaison to, no, actually it's Mark is global, aren't you, Mark? Homelessness is of course, big factor in the built environment, and everything we do to provide safe buildings is affected by everything that's going on politically in culturally and socially in your communities, and that's affordable housing, that's available housing stock, it's everything. And so maybe at some point in time we can't solve everything at once, but as we go through homelessness, at some point in time, Global would like to weigh in, because this is not just an American thing. This is a worldwide thing. And again, I don't want to reach too far the first time, but I would like to maybe morph our discussions on homelessness and what we come up with into a discussion about how building codes and building code professionals and safe buildings help provide a better environment to reduce homelessness, because I think that's an important thing that is not brought up enough right now. And again, the importance of all of the things that we stand for as building safety professionals is brought up in that topic. Sustainability membership and the coordination of BSM videos and Cracker Barrel Roundtable events. We talked about that again. If somebody will just come back and reinforce a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'll jump in there real quick, and I know we're over on time here, but yeah, so sustainability, they wanted to do two things. So we have Building Safety Month videos, and again, Chris McWhite's going to run the run point on that for us, come up with a few different things. And then also another idea was doing like a Cracker Barrel roundtable event where each of the different membership councils kind of come together, one event, put it out there for the general ICC membership, and just kind of everybody tell the membership what your membership council is all about, and you know, how to join, how, you know, what activities you guys are involved with and everything like that. So I think that's going to be another fantastic event.
Good deal, and thank you. And number 4, SMC's coffee break schedule and update. I know that y'all are getting notices about their coffee breaks. I hear they are fantastic. I would like for us to think about an opportunity for all of our membership councils to host a coffee break as an informal way to meet and greet one another and talk about things, not always code related, but this is more of a fellowship building vehicle. And I'm going to skip over that and go on to members' time just because of the time constraints that we have during this meeting. Anybody want to be heard?
Dan?
Yeah.
Dan, real quick, with the let's see, with the bad weather that's out there now, those members and those leaders that are in the various states that are suffering, try to get the information out about generator safety, fire safety, frozen pipes. We're seeing an awful lot of that coming across in areas where they've gotten no power, especially in places like Texas, where there's not an awful lot of insulation used in some areas. And that's becoming a major issue with not only the residential lines breaking, but sprinkler lines breaking as well, and then flooding buildings as they start to warm back up. So ICC put something out on Facebook today. You'll be seeing more information coming out on that as well. But just to have our leaders reach out to their local members and get the word out there about the precautions to take during this bad weather snap.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. And guys, that's just a call basically for us to help communicate with one another. If it comes out on Facebook, share it. Make sure we've got friends all over the United States and all over the world. Make sure we get good information out to people where they have an opportunity to get a hold of it. And those places that are without power, of course, that's not going to be a vehicle for them, but maybe somebody who does see it can get them on the phone, or they're going to see them, or they're providing transportation for them. We're all still going to be reaching out and touching one another, and you never know how your contribution helps somebody else. That's what this thing is all about. That's what's called exponential communication benefits. And that's what we look for, guys. How do we touch people? How do we grow communication? And how do we make it productive so that everybody benefits for it? And we're pretty good at that most of the times, but we don't want to miss a trick, particularly when it comes out to helping somebody else. Anybody else?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I got one quick thing. I know I talked a lot today, but one last thing. I do see about 10 or 11 new names on the participant list today that, and maybe some of you have joined before, maybe some of you haven't. Maybe this is some of your first times joining us today. I would love to throw out a challenge out there to the, like I said, 10 or 11, 12 of you that are new to the BMC, not on another membership council, not on ours, but throw out a challenge. I want to hear from at least half of you. So 5 or 6 of you reach out to Dan and I after this meeting, or a week from now. Let us know, what type of stuff you want us to address, what type of stuff, you'd like us to see for future guest speakers. And also, let us know if you'd like to get involved in one of our different subcommittees and different groups and activities that we're putting together. So I would love to, even if you don't want to volunteer, just drop us a quick line. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like us to see in future meetings. And I'd love to hear from you. And thank you all for being here.
And echo that. Thank you, Ed. And that's a great catch. And just remember, this is just one council of 6, okay? And there's a place for everybody on these councils. If you've got good intent and you're a professional at what you do and you want to make a difference, not just in your community, but everywhere, here you go. Here's the way to do it. And I appreciate you tuning in and listening. Having said that, we're at 4:40. We're actually 10 minutes past the time that I said I would cut y'all loose and I know you're tired of hearing me talk, and I don't blame you. Everybody gets that way quickly most of the time, but thank you for hanging in there with us. We love you to death, and we're really, really gratified that you spent this hour and a half with us, and we look forward to working with you in any way we can. We look forward to you being a part of our team or us becoming a contributor to your team. We want to look at our shared goals. We want to do all we can to help make our built environment a better built environment for the people we serve. Having said that,
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
We do have a hand up.
I can't. Okay.
Tom Peterson, looks like Tom.
Looks like Tom and Ron. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dan, before you go, I just wanted to let you guys know, back in mid-December, ICC announced their partnership with the National Environmental Health Association, creating a pandemic task force. You guys have talked a lot about the pandemic and how it's affected your jurisdictions. And we are, just to let you guys know, we are ramping that committee up this month. And as you have discussed, you have a lot of great ideas on ways we can improve building codes to better facilitate pandemic and other issues, health issues that are addressed in the building codes. I would like to ask you and your committee that as you come across best practices, as you evaluate and find new ideas, and new means to help prevent the spread of disease in the built environment, if you could just send those over to us, we would love to have that information for our committee to review and to vet a little bit. So thank you, Dan, for the meeting today. It's been great. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's coming. And we are going to start meeting and creating some subcommittees for that. So we'd love to have any information you guys have available in your jurisdictions.
You certainly are going to get it, and thank you for weighing in on that. And I'm going to drill down on that challenge a little bit, guys. This is a community building best practices and innovation. This is where we ought to be strongest in major jurisdictions. Also, guys, let's work together and see how we can team up and get this to them. Okay, and we'll send this out as a not a challenge, but a cooperative effort amongst all of our councils. And yes, absolutely, we want to do it.
Hey, Dan, Ron Hampton, Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
I just want to give a quick shout out to our old friend and former BMC GC committeeman, Steve Mills, for being on the call. Thank you, Steve. It's good to see you're jumping in there and participating. I haven't talked to you in a long time, brother. Give me a call.
Thanks. And I don't know if Steve's here or not. I didn't hear him respond, but Steve's always been active and he's always been good. And I'll be honest with you, he's always offered really, really good counsel when you come to him with a question, because you've got something rolling around your mind. You just can't put your finger on it. Steve, thank you, brother. We appreciate you being here. And Ron, thank you for recognizing him too. Anybody else? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn. You will be getting a notification of our next BMC meeting, along with notifications for a meeting schedule for all of our subcommittees. And with that, I thank you greatly for spending this hour and a half with us. I look forward to good things coming from what we do. Guys on the GC and all of our BMC members too, I am so proud of you. I can't stand myself, and I am tickled to death that you'd let me be a part of this organization. It is something else. It just, the words escape me sometimes, and this is one of those times. I love this stuff, and I love what I come away with these meetings knowing and doing and feeling. And so having said that, I'll hush and say, unless anybody else has anything to say, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
This is Jim. I make a motion to adjourn.
Matheny, second.
We had Jim with a motion, Matheny with a second. Remember, God bless y'all. Take a kid fishing. Have a wonderful day. This meeting is now adjourned.
Stay
Thank
safe,
you.
everybody.
Be safe. Take care.
And Dan, now it's take a kid ice fishing right now.
Oh, really?
That's only
Ed?
on the north side.
Ed, tell us about ice holes.
Oh.
Ed, tell them how blessed you are, how you can literally walk on the water this time of year.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
You know,
Jim and I, we walk on water up here.
That's right. And we are blessed.
Yeah, when you start doing it barefoot, then I'm going to brag on you.
Right.
All right, guys. Thank you so
Carry on.
much. Appreciate it.
See you later.
Mark, Stephen, look forward to seeing y'all on Sunday.
Yep.
You got it. Be there.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.